1 year to the next general elections, and you know that a lot of Ghanaians will be pouring out in their numbers to cast their ballot, and the two leading political parties have been speaking ahead of the elections on issues that bother them, specifically that of security before, during, and after the elections. We'll be digging in to find out what exactly we all need to be doing as the country prepares for that all-important election. Also coming up, we will take you to Parliament, where the Trade and Industry Minister is expected to lay the Export and Import LI on the floor for a final debate. And later in the bulletin, the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources justifies government's decision to grant mining lease to Barari DV for the exploitation of Ghana's lithium resources in the central region. And when we are done with that, we will give you another story having to do with the Lands and Natural Resources Minister's position on the fact that the mining lease given for the exploitation of lithium is in the best interest of Ghana. And on the international front, Kenya is to send 1,500 farm workers to Israel amid the war with Hamas. Details of all these stories and more in the next few seconds. Stay with us. Let's start from the political front. A year from today, December 7, millions of Ghanaians will be voting to elect 276 members of parliament and a new president. President Akufo-Addo will be ending his constitutionally mandated 2 4-year terms on the 6th of January 2025, but Ghanaians will have to elect his successor on the 7th of December 2024. Already, both the New Patriotic Party, the NPP, and the presidential candidate of both the New Patriotic Party's presidential candidate, that's Alhaji Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, and the National Democratic Congress's candidate, John Dramani Mahama, have given glimpses of what the electorate should be expecting in their respective 2024 manifestos. Dr. Bawumia talks about digitization, while John Mahama is looking at a 24-hour economy for Ghana. William Evans Inkum has been engaging some electorates in the Ashanti region on which of the political parties has a stronger message going into the elections. He's joined us on phone. Unfortunately, we seem to have lost Evans on that subject. But you know that as someone who yourself may be going out to the polls to vote, we'll be happy to hear what you make of the fact that we are exactly 1 year away from December 7, 2024, when we will line up at our various polling centers to be voting. What exactly would be influencing your vote? What exactly are you going to be looking for or listening out for? Or you are a rubber stamp voter because you belong to one political party, irrespective of what message they have, you're still going to be voting. Well, before we bring you the thoughts of what other people are saying, let's see if we have a better connection to Evans Inkum. William, good afternoon. Thank you for joining us.
Good afternoon. Thanks for having me, Martin.
Right. So, I mean, it is the stronghold of the New Patriotic Party, but I'm sure that some other electorates will consider extra factors before they make their decision. What are the electorates telling you 1 year to the elections in 2024?
Well, so the focus, certainly from what I've been able to gather from few electorates that I've been engaging, will be on the promises. Better still, finally point, the manifesto or the policies going forward as far as the two major political parties are concerned. Of course, those that have been dominating is the one coming from the former president of the Republic, John Dramani Mahama, on his 24-hour economy, and of course, the digitization. But if you engage, it looks like the former president, John Dramani Mahama's 24-hour economy is gaining ground because most of the youth that have engaged say that, well, they want jobs. And because of jobs that most of the youth, number of the youth are leaving the shores of this particular country. So once they have jobs, then they can rest assured that indeed development is happening in real time. But for digitization, some have their own reservations. And I'm pretty sure that we have the voice and just so our listeners will have a better appreciation of what people of the Ashanti region have been saying.
Certainly.
Maybe want to play the voice.
All right.
Because I will share Ghana said the economy near Messia Diamayena, and Mebuno, and yes, ye fat digitan on Quasemo. It is uncle, yet digitan or dear a Juma be batan one dia, and any problem. Because on mine only can you a Jumano, didn't know mine, and land any you to say so be a passport to coin. Hey, you may any system.
Only say, or the 24-hour economy, bar. I mean, who say, a dear, I walk rather than. Because public sectors be on my nursing hospital, Ubakone be more from Biban or Pibi Baby, Numre, other than to me, who say, no, a bar. Now, partner, private sectors now, at least. Above one month of 4, Danny Denina, Titi Phoebe, movie school, Munya Jumayana. A bit to me, so why a day. I'm at unemployment rate in Sokakra.
Okay, no beer him say, and him say, be a man for Kutu Kobanum catcher, say, oh, I from the same no Makuduntina, Nini and energy. And it was I say, and me, eyewitness, me call bank. As I'm your Jimmy Ghana card, a blawun mean for reference a number name call, and me a straight.
So, yes, Evans, those are the voices of some electorate and what would influence their decision to vote. But, I mean, it's a year to the elections. What's the atmosphere like in the Ashanti region?
Well, so to some who still do not believe that, think that promises made in previous elections have failed to turn the tide, they appeared indifferent as far as, 2024 election is concerned. But, hey, this is Ghana for you, for the Ashanti region. Voter party, yes, this is not the first time we've seen this, but on the D-Day, you see a good number of people also turning out. Look, Greater Accra recorded the highest, or some constituencies in Greater Accra recorded the highest in a turnout as far as registration for new voters were concerned. Aside Greater Accra, Ashanti region came second. So you're talking about constituencies like Kwabri East constituency, and of course, Achuma Kwahoma constituency also recorded some highest number of new voters. So if it is anything to go by, then you can say that even though, some of the youth are saying that they will not vote, but considering the fact that they also turn out in their numbers to register, it does appear that they are likely to turn up in their numbers in 2024 general election.
William Evanzinkum, thank you so much for updating us on what the expectations are in the Ashanti region ahead of the 2024 elections, which is exactly a year away from today. Let's engage my other colleague who is here in Accra, Christian Yali. He's been out and about engaging a number of prospective voters on their expectation ahead of December 7, 2024. Christian, good afternoon. Thank you for joining us. What are the general thoughts of the people you've been speaking to? All right, we are yet to get to that connection to Christian Yali, but let's speak to a political analyst who has also been watching this space. Dr. Tutu Boahin has joined us on phone. Doc, a very good afternoon to you. Thank you for your time.
Good afternoon.
We know that we are exactly a year away from 2024 general elections. As a political marketing consultant, what are the key issues that you have observed from the two leading political parties that gives you a sense that we are truly in readiness for 2024?
All right. So I think that what I am seeing appears to me that the two major political parties and other smaller ones are not really doing enough. I think that the euphoria is not as heated as it is supposed to be. And again, we are also not seeing, any concrete messaging that probably, will hit the Ghanaian, voter going forward. It appears to me that the two major political parties are being over cautious to the extent that I think by now the parties probably should have come out with their manifestos and probably touch on key, areas that they are going to tackle, and also let Ghanaians know the kind of vision they want to drive, when they are elected into power. As at now, we don't even know the directions of these two political parties, for Ghanaians.
Right.
And I think that it is about time that they start working on that.
Okay.
Again, sorry?
Okay, so yes, conclude on that point, sir.
Yes. No, I've concluded on that point. I was going to go to another one.
To a second point. Maybe for lack of time, I would want to ask a second question having to do with the voter, because they are going to be deciding on which of the two candidates we are going to be, electing. What should the expectation of the voter be? We know the economy, security, and then those are the prime issues that people pay attention to. But would that really play out going into 2024?
Obviously, that has been the bane of Ghana's development, and it has always been the informing, issue going into any election. I mean, voters will vote because, one, there is the person probably does not have a job to do. These issues about unemployment and all that. People will vote probably looking for that president who will come and fix, the economy of Ghana in terms of its finances and all that.
Right.
People will probably want to vote for a leader who will turn out certain policies, innovative policies, for the benefit of society and all. So there may be various reasons, all right?
Okay.
And I believe that is why I believe that some of the policies that, would drive people, voters, motivate them, encourage them. I think I overheard someone talking about the fact that some people are saying they wouldn't vote, in Ashanti region or thereabouts, yes? Yeah, because of probably certain experiences, all right? But again, if we know that there is this candidate who is putting up this particular message in here, which of course is within my interest, then the issue of apathy will be dead and gone. Okay. As far as that person is concerned, that person will be motivated to go out there and then go and vote. So that is why I'm saying that the policies and the messaging should start coming now, so that even if somebody wants to change, move from one party to another to go and vote for that party, I mean, that decision can be taken now.
Okay.
All
right. Thank you so much, Dr. Bernard Tutu Boahene, who is a political marketing consultant there with his thoughts on preparations ahead of the 2024 elections. All right, so let's talk about one of the major concerns I raised having to do with that of security. The IGP has been speaking. The Chief of Defense Staff has also had a word to say on their preparations or readiness ahead of the 2024 elections. Unfortunately, our resource person, Dr. Adam Bona, who is expected to have, given us a word or two in terms of preparations and his own observations, has just gone off the line. But ahead of, or before we even engage the security analyst, let's listen to what the IGP has been saying on their preparations ahead of 2024.
You who sit here, collectively as professionals and as citizens and patriotic one like that, will do whatever it takes.
Okay, so we will bring you the full insight of what the IGP has been saying. Dr. Adam Bona has joined us on phone for a quick chat on this. Doc, good afternoon. Thank you for your time.
Good afternoon, and thank you for having me.
The IGP has given some kind of an assurance, the Chief of Defense Staff saying that they will be supporting the police from the background. These are words from two leading figures in our security apparatus. As a security analyst yourself, do these words actually carry any weight, or the action you see on the ground is what we should be paying attention to?
Well, I must say let's congratulate the security couples who met at the behest of the IGP, including, in fact, the referee, the EC chairperson. It is Nobel. We really haven't seen this. I don't know if we've seen this. Usually they would wait. IGPs and the security couples and the EC, those who are supposed to take care of election security, would wait few months or weeks before election, then you hear that election task force just met. It always made it very difficult to properly interrogate and advise them and let them know, things that must be done right. And so, as far as I'm concerned, hearing from the IGP, the CDS, the immigration controller, the prisons boss, the fire, and the rest gives me some comfort. And I believe Ghanaians would also be comforted, especially coming from 2020 elections where innocent Ghanaians lost their lives because of election. So I would say it's something that we should encourage them, but we shouldn't just fall asleep. Right. I have said that I would urge the IGP, the security couples, to have a plan for major media houses, because then next year's election is going to be very daunting, very tough. And major media houses are likely to come under attack like we saw in 2020. So if the target is just the polling, stations and, voting centers and, the other locations, then we are likely to let a very important segment of our election security be lost, because you cannot have a proper election security. Let me say and reiterate, emphasize that you cannot have a proper election security without the inclusion of the media.
Right. Okay.
So that must be trumpeted. We need to let them know that include the media in everything you are doing, so that when things are going wrong, the media will be able to let us know, so that if we have to come and support the police and the rest to make sure the right things are done, we do that. So for me, I think it's a step in the right direction.
Doc, thank you so much. It's early days here. We have a year to go. We'll definitely be engaging you more as we all prepare ourselves for the elections. Dr. Adam Bona, thank you for your time as always. He is a security analyst, and all of this is in preparation to the 2024 elections. Like I indicated, we are exactly 1 year away from that all-important decision that we have to make as electorates of this country. The political class would come with messages. Which of the messages are you going to be buying into? What have you heard so far? And then, based on where you are well convinced, you would have to now vote, because if you do not vote, you cannot complain about what's happening. If you want to, then let's find out how all of this plays out for you. Let's go on to some other stories now. And the trade minister is expected to lay a bill in Parliament. We'll speak to Komla Kluche shortly on that. However, the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, Samuel Abu-Jinapor, has justified government's decision to grant a mining lease to Barari DV for the exploitation of Ghana's lithium resources in the central region. He contends that the model applied by government compares favorably with other such agreements in the world, indicating that it is the best ever mining lease entered into by the country. Speaking at a press briefing, Samuel Abu-Jinapor also indicated that the mining lease will be ratified by Parliament before it becomes fully law. We'll find out what else has been said regarding this when we connect to our reporter Duke Menta Upoku, who was at that presser. But before that, let's engage Dr. Yusuf Suleimana, energy and natural resources expert. He's joined us for a quick chat on this. Doc, a very good afternoon to you. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, good afternoon to you, Martins, and to your cherished listeners. Thank you for having me.
The concern about the percentage that Ghana is going to get from the, lithium resource is where the debate starts from. Ghana is getting just about 30%. The remaining 70% is going to the foreign partner. The minister says it's a good deal. Civil society and some key critical voices say it is not a good deal. We should go back and renegotiate. You're an expert. What do you make of this debate?
Yeah, thank you once again. So it would have been easier to say we can go back and renegotiate. Why do we have ourselves where we are, Martins? We have ourselves to blame for all this. We haven't strategically placed ourselves to be able to negotiate. To have, control over the negotiation table. Usually in deals, in resource deals, when you're coming to the negotiation table, apart from you being the resource owner, you have to have some know-how, number one, and some amount of money in a way that probably your past investments will be able to tackle you to a point that you can ask for more. Looking at this deal and as it is, if you ask me, would we have gotten something better? I only say yes, we could have gotten. Because I only don't like the idea of we bulk ourselves into a royalty regime. And if you look at why the people, the duty bearers are celebrating, they are just comparing that to what is existing. What is existing is not the best. So if you are comparing what we have now to what is existing, and there's been a little bit of an improvement, let's say royalties from 5% to 10%, and that's a few added that have gone up a little bit of some percentage points. And it's not only a natural, oil or this extractive. In the oil industry, we still have the same thing. Why a resource owner will be struggling with 20 to 30%? That is not acceptable. Why we are in this position is the fact that, Martin, before you can get a very major share in your state, even if you are a resource owner, you have to put in amount of investment. And I think that is not acceptable. Ghana, the nation that we have been in the extractive industry, if we're neophyte in the industry, then I would have said, okay, 30% would have been okay, we could sell this so much now. But we are not even neophyte. We have been in the extractive industry, especially of gold, for God knows how long.
Right.
So all this year, what have we been doing? What kind of investment have we been doing? We haven't done any investment. So you have done zero investment into the sector, and all of a sudden you want to get 50%. It is very difficult to get that. So yes, we have ourselves partly to blame, and then we have to strategize going forward, so that when deals are coming, we should be able to get more percentage. But if you ask me whether we could have gotten more, yes, I think we could have gotten more, and 30% at least is not a good thing.
Right.
For a good start, like I mentioned, we haven't invested into that space.
Okay.
So it's very difficult to ask for more. Yeah.
Doc, thank you so much for your time and the explanation you've brought to the subject. Dr. Yusuf Sulemana, Energy and Natural Resources expert there. So, clearly he's of the opinion that we could have gotten better in terms of the percentage, but because even as a country we've not invested properly in that sector, our hands are tied, and that's how come we seem to be excited about this very meager percentage that we are getting. But let's speak now to Duke Mensah Opoku, who sat through the press conference that the minister just gave. He ended a few minutes ago. Duke, good afternoon. Thank you for joining us. Clearly, this is just a justification of the percentage Ghana is getting, isn't it? And also, the minister is seeking to say that we should forget the other side of the argument. We are in for the best deal. Is that it?
Yes, essentially that's what he said. Breaking down the mechanics of the deal, insisting that this is the best deal available that Ghana could get compared it to other countries, and indicated that when you look at the overall structuring of the deal, minimum the Ghanaian state and Ghanaians generally will own about 30% of the entire transaction, while the foreign partners own about 70%. Now, he is insisting that this compares favorably in terms of when you break it down, you look at the royalty structure, the carried interest structure, and even the corporate taxes that are going to be paid. It compares favorably with all the other tax agreements worldwide. Globally, compared to our neighbors, Mali, to China, to Australia, to Namibia, to Zimbabwe. This deal you wouldn't get, anywhere. Also, he speaks of how geologically Ghana is disadvantaged when you compare to others. For instance, there's a project in Mali where the grade of lithium is about 2.75, where that in Mali is about 3.28. So in terms of the difference, that's of higher grade and higher quality than ours. So when you look at all of those permutations, you need to structure the deal in such a way that you can get the best out of your foreign partners, and you can also get the best out of yourself. Considering the fact that Ghana went into this deal with no geographical or seismic data, and everything had to be done by the foreign partners who did the reconnaissance, and they've spent about 10 years since 2012 prospecting, exploring, and to find out whether they can get any lithium in commercial quantities. That has been done. We also spoke about the fact that it's embedded in the contract on the mining lease for a refinery to be built either by Barari or through a third-party partner. He also veered off a bit, and then later on to the questions and answers, spoke about the fact that, another lithium question which has been raging for the this past week, which has got residents of Winnipeg protesting about the granting of a mining lease of the concession or a land or the Yenkum, called the Yenkum Forest Reserve, where usually hunting for the famous Abuache Festival is done, has been given up for mining. That's the lithium mining. He stated categorically that that's a lie, that's not true, and that has not been given up for mining. He's saying that the ministry and government will succumb to a superior argument or a better argument from civil society and other concerned factors. But as things stand now, it is one of the best agreements in the world, and it compares favorably with anywhere globally.
Duke, thank you so much for those updates. Duke Mensah Opoku is a reporter who's been following the conversation about the lithium debate. The minister has just justified the percentage Ghana is getting, and he says it is what it is. All right, let's go to Parliament now. And the Trade and Industry Minister, Katie Hammond, will today, for the third time, try to lay the export and import LI on the floor of the House. The minister has been unsuccessful at his previous attempts as the minority say the bill, if passed, will be an avenue for corruption and cronyism. Komala Kluche is our parliamentary correspondent. He's joined us. Komala, good afternoon. Thank you for your time. Has the bill been laid?
Good afternoon, Martin. No, it hasn't. The House is even yet to sit. But it's not even listed on the order paper for today. So I wonder how that's going to be able to pan out. However, the issue about the number of days, because one, it needs to mature in terms of 21 days. That's per the certain orders of the House. But Parliament, we are aware they are going on recess in the next 2 weeks. The budget itself has not been approved yet, and so I'm wondering how that's going to be possible, but it's not listed on the order paper. If it's not listed on the order paper, we will just have to wait, and then we see if they'll bring an order paper addendum, which would capture it. If that happens, then it means that it will be late. But the talk is about whether, if it's late, would it mature before the House will rise? Because if the moment the House leaves, then or they go on recess, then it means that it's not being able to meet the mandatory 21 15 days. The holidays and the weekends are not part of it. So I'm sure the minister is calculating all of this and taking into consideration what exactly he has to do in terms of getting the numbers required with regards to the days. But as we speak now, that has not been done.
Okay. We know that a lot is going to be happening in this last 2 weeks, like you mentioned, before the House rises for the Christmas break. But one other major one that came a few seconds ago, I should say, has to do with the majority issuing a 3-line whip to all its members to appear before the House. First of all, before we come to you, let's listen to former Deputy Minority Leader who's been sharing his thoughts on this particular issue. Then we'll come to you to even explain to us what a 3-line whip is and what exactly is the majority trying to do with this.
Against the budget. Our position as a minority hasn't changed because we have not received any directive from our leadership of the side of the House to change our position. So it means that what we did on the 29th, when the budget was rejected per our voting, we'll vote the same way. We'll vote against the budget.
And that is James Kluche Aveji, who is the former Deputy Minority Leader. He is saying that they will be voting against the budget. Komala, briefly, what's the latest regarding the budget?
Well, it's been listed as item 10 on the order paper, meaning that the Speaker would continue with the head count. Mind you, at the last day, which was last week Wednesday, the Speaker put the question and his decision was challenged, and so he had to do a head count. They are going to continue from there. It's only the head count. That's the more reason why the majority has issued a 3-line whip. 3-line whip meaning that all its members must avail themselves in the House. They must not fail to do so. Wherever you are, you have to stop whatever you are doing and appear in the House. If you are an MPP MP plus the one independent member of the House who does business with them, you must be in the chamber this afternoon to ensure that they have the budget passed.
Thank you so much, Komla Kluche, for that update and report from Parliament. He's our parliamentary correspondent, and that's how we bring the bulletin to an end. Whether or not the budget will be passed, very topical subject. We'll be updating you on it in subsequent bulletins. To have a good afternoon. My name is Martin Asiedu-Dartey. Menuaful brings you business.
Hello, good afternoon. It's time now for Business Daily. Welcome to this afternoon's edition. Coming up, exporters to pay fines and face jail term of up to 10 years over failure to ensure repatriation of export proceeds under the Bank of Ghana's letter of commitment.
We don't want anybody, to become victim to this subsection 4 of the Foreign Exchange Act. Okay, that's why we want all of us, to be sensitized.
Also, African Continental Free Trade Agreement Secretariat to strictly prohibit non-African raw material sources under the Trade Pact.
You can't go and order something from Alibaba, then you repackage it and say that you want to trade with it. It doesn't work like that.
Plus, Ghana's agribusiness partnership set to generate some $200 million per annum in import substitution and 326,000 jobs for youth in agriculture.
At the end of 4 years, we anticipate to generate over $200 million per annum in the form of import substitution. So we have job creation, we have production of food crops.
My name is Menuaful. We have the details of these stories and more lined up for you. Don't go anywhere. Thank you so much for staying with us. Straight to our first story. Exporters will face severe sanctions, including payment of fines as well as imprisonment over non-compliance of the Bank of Ghana letter of commitment. The legal framework of the Central Bank's Foreign Exchange Act 2006 requires that payment for merchandise export from Ghana shall be made to the Exporters Bank in the country. Deputy Director of Foreign Bank Operations at the Bank of Ghana, Eric Hammond, made this known at the sensitization workshop on the Central Bank's letter of commitment requirement for the repatriation of export proceeds.
Makes it a very serious offense for you to export and do not repatriate. But we don't want anybody, to become victim to this subsection 4 of the Foreign Exchange Act. Okay, that's why we want all of us, to be sensitized to the need to repatriate, so that once you've exported and then you repatriated, you make this law redundant, as it has always been the case. So that is, and apart from the Act of Parliament, the Bank of Ghana has also been empowered, in making sure of the laws of this country work. We have been given the powers to issue notices to the public on any aspect of the law so far as Bank of Ghana is concerned. So we also issue a public notice in 2016 regarding these LOCs. So given the legal and regulatory framework, which empowers Bank of Ghana to see to the effective implementation of the acts, Bank of Ghana came out with a document, to help us to monitor all export and ensure repatriation.
Eric Hammond is Deputy Director of Foreign Banking Operations at Bank of Ghana. Away from that, the African Continental Free Trade Agreement Secretariat has emphasized that trading under the pact will strictly prohibit raw material sources outside Africa. According to the Secretariat, the crucial certificate of origin under the trade policy will be a requisite document for member countries, streamlining trading processes within the agreement. Program Manager at the National Coordination Office of the AFCFTA, Mimi Adom-Koka, was speaking at the Sensation Workshop on the Bank of Ghana Letter of Commitment requirement for the repatriation of export proceeds.
The certificate of origin is a certificate which identifies where your product is coming from. That's the raw materials you're using for your product. Since we want to boost the African market, since we want to boost our economy, we highly encourage that the raw materials you use for your product are being sourced from the African continent. You can't go and order something from Alibaba, then you repackage it and say that you want to trade with it. You can't order something from Shein or Zara and say that you want to trade with it. It doesn't work like that. If we do not boost ourselves or enhance ourselves internally, we can't trade. So to make after work, the agreement clearly states that the product or the raw materials you are using for your end product should be wholly sourced from the African market.
That was Program Manager at the National Coordination Office of AFCFTA, Mimi Adom-Koka. Also, the Ghana National Service Scheme has signed an agreement with Agri-Impact Consult targeted at increasing food production. The project, which is funded by Masterclass Foundation, is expected to generate about $200 million per annum in import substitution at the end of 4 years. Daniel Akwe is Chief Executive of Agribusiness Consult.
The project is not only focusing in just creating jobs for youth, but it is concerned in improving and increasing agricultural production in Ghana. And we have a target of increasing food production by 189,000 tons of the value chains that we have mentioned and 12,000 tons of poultry. And at the end of 4 years, we anticipate to generate over $200 million per annum in the form of import substitution. So we have job creation, we have production of food crops, and then we also have import substitution, all coming together within this project. This is the first time, according to the Mastercard Foundation, that they are using a local firm to implement a project of this sort. Normally, they fall on international organizations. And it is amazing that this project is their largest project for the year, the biggest project the foundation is implementing or rolling out for the year.
Chief Executive of Agribusiness Consult, Daniel Akwe, there. Meanwhile, Executive Director of the Ghana National Service Scheme, Osei Asibe-Ntwi, is making a case for the need to woo university graduates into agriculture. According to him, modernized agriculture can only be achieved by skilled labor.
We are now moving into the modernity area. We are moving into an area whereby even the use of chemical is now scientific. We are moving into an area whereby now you can even be at the comfort of your office, but yet you can get your farm irrigated. We are moving into an arena whereby now tractor can only be commanded to go into the farm and start working robotics. And all these things, it is a graduate that can do it. And at Brenham, there's a clear example to show. When we went to Brenham to start the farm, the graduate youth that we sent there, they said, look, sir, we will not let you bother yourself on fertilizer. Once we have poultry droppings, we can use it to create the manual. And as if they were joking, by the time we realized, they have been able to turn the poultry droppings through the enzymes and their scientific means, and they have made fertilizer out of it.
You heard Executive Director of the Ghana National Service Scheme, Osei Asibe-Ntwi, there. That will be all for the business news On Business Daily, my name is Menu Afol. For more business stories, please check out our website 3news.com. Up next is a playback of African history class. Do stay tuned.